Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. Welcome to this video on why the renter assistance program, the executive order, offers no eviction extension. It offers no money to help renters and what you must know. I've released many other videos on my channel today and I want you to check them all out. I talked about the glaring problems with the $400 a week unemployment benefit extension. I did that video in two parts actually, so you want to check that out. I also talked about why the $400 a week unemployment benefit extension is not actually a federal unemployment assistance program, according to Michelle Evermore, who's a leading unemployment expert, and why it's a separate program called Lost Wages. It's a lost wages assistance program that could and will most likely take months to implement, and there are many other problems. You know, the states may not have money, it may never even get off the ground in your state, and it's going to get depleted very quickly. I covered all of that in previous videos. Now in this video I'm going to talk to you about the eviction moratorium that the president signed and behind the scenes facts that you may not know. Now, as you know, President Trump signed an executive order stating that it was US policy to minimize evictions and foreclosures. Now keep in mind, the order does not reinstate the federal eviction moratorium that expired last month. The president could have done that. He has the authority to do that, but the federal eviction moratorium that expired last month was not extended, and neither was there any funding which the Democrats requested. The Democrats had asked for billions of dollars in rental assistance necessary to help people who were late or who were behind on their rent. Now keep in mind that this was not done, okay? The plan related to housing only makes suggestions to federal agencies but does not halt evictions nationally. It makes a suggestion, it does not halt evictions nationally. Instead, the order calls on the Department of Health and Human Services and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention to consider whether it was necessary to temporarily halt evictions. I repeat, to consider whether it was necessary to temporarily halt evictions. The Treasury Department and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, that's HUD, shall identify, I quote, federal funds to provide temporary assistance to renters and homeowners who, as a result of the financial hardships caused by COVID, are struggling to meet their monthly rental or mortgage obligations. That's what the order says. So basically, there is no eviction moratorium, no new money to help renters, and it's asking HUD to consider, I quote, consider if evictions should stop. So again, the president said it's US policy to minimize evictions and foreclosures. The order does not reinstate, I repeat, does not reinstate the federal eviction moratorium that expired last month, and Democrats have said that's necessary to help people pay their rent. So this is where things stand right now. I'll actually read from the executive order. The Treasury Department and Department of Housing and Urban Development shall identify. Now what does that mean, shall identify? And by the way, it doesn't say the money has to go to a certain type of individual with a certain income level. It doesn't say how long the assistance should last. It doesn't even identify whether there's assistance for back rent. And it says shall identify federal funds to provide temporary assistance to renters and homeowners. So the National Low Income Housing Coalition issued a statement saying, and I quote, "This executive order offers merely false hope and risks increased confusion and chaos at a time when renters need assurance that they will not be kicked out of their homes." Like I said, how many renters are covered? How long will the moratorium last? By the way, there is no extension of moratorium. Any money for rental assistance to help them cover back rent? Here's a cold hard reality. The executive order does not create an extension of the eviction moratorium. It simply says to federal agencies, hey, you know, do something on evictions. That's it. And that's why the word consider is used. And so essentially these actions are not as strong, not as definitive, not as defined as you might expect. So again, bottom line, no extension of eviction moratorium. HHS and CDC will consider if it's necessary, and you can understand how long government agencies take to work and to consider stuff, right? No money for rental assistance. HUD and the Treasury shall identify, I quote, available federal funds. Otherwise, for the average renter, pretty much nothing has changed. So if HHS and CDC determine, here's an important question, if HHS and CDC actually determine that an eviction moratorium is necessary, do they actually have the power to act on it? They won't know. They don't know if they have the power to act on it. So what do you think they're going to do? They're not going to act on it. That's it. Would Congress still have to act? Will they wait for congressional approval? Because there is no congressional approval on that right now, because there is no consensus between the House and the Senate. So basically what the president signed was an executive order, some memoranda. The one on evictions directs the government to find ways to help homeowners and renters, but on its own it does nothing, absolutely nothing to halt evictions. And by the way, President Trump also claimed that the Democrats, in his words, have not wanted to do anything protecting people from eviction. Now let me be clear, the Democrats have, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have talked about consistently extending the eviction moratorium. They've also urged emergency rental assistance. So what the president said in this aspect is inconsistent with what the Democrats have said. Democrats have agreed also that President Trump has the power to extend the eviction moratorium. In all the executive order discussions over the past several days, the eviction moratorium is the one piece that Democrats have agreed that the president could do unilaterally, and there are some reports that suggest that the Democrats actually encourage the president to act unilaterally on it. But one thing is for sure, the Democrats acknowledged that it could be done unilaterally by the president. The president had the power to do it unilaterally, but guess what? You ready? He didn't do it. The president did not issue an extension of the eviction moratorium. So as you can imagine, one big opponent of the eviction moratorium has emerged, and they are an industry that's pretty close to the president. What is that industry? Do you want to guess? The industry is landlords. And Democrats have pointed out that the president's housing plan provides no assistance to help pay the rent. That's it, everybody. So that is the behind the scenes information about the extension of eviction moratoriums. You can read the memorandum for yourself. I will link you to the memorandum in the description below, and you will see for yourself that it's very vague. It provides no specifics about the extension of the eviction moratorium, how much money people get, whether there's any assistance to individuals. Also, if, like I said, if the agencies make a determination, hey, let's extend the moratorium, do they actually have the power to do that? There is no clarity at all on that. In large part, this seems like a symbolic gesture. I don't want to say it's a political gesture, that's for you to decide, but it is a symbolic gesture without any definitive, without any concrete steps. It is neither a blueprint nor a framework to actually help renters by way of an extension of the eviction moratorium, which, by the way, was a part of the CARES Act, and it certainly doesn't provide any specific funds. It simply tells agencies, hey, just think about it, consider it, figure it out. If you learn something new from this video, please click the like button. A lot of effort goes into these videos. All you have to do is click the like button. A lot of effort and research goes in, and you can consume the content pretty quickly. You can watch it at 2x speeds. So I would appreciate it if you just click the like button. Also, please subscribe if you learn something new, and please enable notifications so you get instant alerts going forward. If you want to get added to our breaking news and alerts list, please get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time, that's ignition or time, to 70,000. So type out the word ignition or time in the message window and send the message to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get instant alerts from us going forward about breaking news as we get the time to send out those alerts. You can opt out at any time. You'll also be on our email list if you agree to a quick disclaimer, and you can opt out at any time. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. I will see you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.